Buddy. It has been way too long. Oh, what's up with the chat? Interesting. Can't tell. It's been a minute since I streamed anything. Okay. I was gonna do chaos tonight, but then I decided, I've been doing some writing for the Reliquary Brotherhood, so I should probably paint one of them. So that's what I'm going to attempt to be doing tonight. So we'll be doing some Vanguard vets. Hey, Geno Cash, no longer using my coffee here. Fair enough. I approve. Hi, Mackenzie. I think I did come up with a color scheme idea that I like for the first company. Because they are Dark Angels, which would imply that they need to have a slightly different color scheme in their first company. Oh, hi, wife. We're going to see how this looks. I have a feeling it's going to be a little odd. But I don't know yet. And the problem with a color this bright is it's super streaky. But once I go over it with the wash, that'll get rid of all of it. How are the Raven Guard coming, Geno Cash? Making any progress? Also, did you decide to go for base Raven Guard, or are they your own chapter? Like, did you decide to go for the parent chapter? I'm Malleus. We are attempting an alternate scheme for the Reliquary Brotherhood First Company. I was going to do Chaos tonight, but I decided not to because I've been doing a lot of writing for these guys after what we had discussed with the Youth Art campaign. And I think in my head, I finally came up with a First Company scheme that I like. So they have their own Deathwing, essentially. Made more Warhammer friends. We're doing silly competition between us all. Fun time. Slowly trying to learn to sculpt a little bit so I can make some custom guys. I don't envy you there. I much prefer kit bashing over sculpting. That's because I'm just bad at it. I did it once, and I swore it off after that. TV show, Knight of Seven Kingdoms show, literally the best TV I've seen in years. Better than even peak Game of Thrones. So this gets me dirty looks in a lot of nerd communities, but I've never seen Game of Thrones. I never really had a desire to see Game of Thrones. And I know everybody says it's like peak cinema as far as a show goes. Just never really struck my fancy. Kit bashing, but I want to sculpt the power suit under the armor. Oh, I see. Interesting. United Seven Kingdoms. It's a prequel, and you don't need any onboarding. It's also like 3 hours, even though it's more lighthearted. It's definitely not kid friendly. Well, that's one of the major issues. Is I always have a kid around, but I also don't have HBO, so that would also pose an issue. A little paint competition. Pink has to be the main color. It was rolled randomly. I'm kit bashing a veteran for it. Pink for the first company. That is a decision for sure. Ooh, too thin. It's in the midst of a borderline mental breakdown, so I haven't done any YouTube stuff. Just trying to breathe easy and paint some in furnace. Feel that. Have you been streaming lately, Malodus? I haven't seen any notifications. I've been watching your shorts. Wild no lore. See, that's fun, but it would bug the absolute hell out of me. I'm a very lore-driven person. If you haven't noticed. Just for funsies, no one wins anything. That would be fun. And it would help you with your painting skills. Pink is not a very high pigment color. So it is one of the more difficult ones to work with. I did contemplate starting an Emperor's Children army, but I already have some. I have a homebrew Slaaneshi warband, so I didn't end up going that route. And there is no pink in them. Still uploading a huge batch of shorts I recorded a while back. Turns out a master's isn't a walk in the park, and I've devoted myself for the past month leading up to defense. Also calling the alcohol. The paint started bubbling up almost an hour in. Yeah, it's great stuff. I used it, so I haven't done a short or anything for this yet. So you guys are getting a sneak peek. Well, those of you who aren't patrons. I stripped all my plague marines. And I painted another one up the other day. This is how he ended up turning out. I'm really proud of him. I think he turned out pretty awesome. But the point is I had stripped all of my plague marines because I didn't like how I did them in the first place. And I put all world eater heads on them because they're world eaters. And I'm really happy with how they turned out after being stripped. But yeah, this dude, this is the first one I did, and he's okay. But I'm much happier with this one. Question for everyone: if you were on death row, what would be your last meal? Ooh, chicken Alfredo. I'd be fine with that. There was this paint color scheme. It's the main reason I ended up wanting to try painting because I saw someone not take it seriously. Though with I thought all Warhammer people were hardcore. No, they're not. I am, but not all of them. Except I don't play the game. Basically, it's gravy, fried chicken with white gravy, mashed potatoes, sweet tea, Texas sheet cake, apple pie, vanilla ice cream. Hi, Channing. I am alive, and I thought I died too. This was very necessary to get back to. If anyone wants to see the model I just finished today, go check out my latest short. Or my TikTok or my Instagram. Because it's on there too. Die happy. You wouldn't call me hardcore? I was only solid lore people, no custom stuff. Oh, like the already established lore. No creativity whatsoever for the community. I wouldn't be able to do that. The creative portion is what got me into the hobby. The fact that you can make something of your own. Probably some seafood, oysters, sashimi, lobster. Some childhood favorites like Lexel, fasolka. Sorry, my Polish is a little rusty. Oh, fried liver. Sorry, you lost me. No last meal. Nothing you just love to taste one final time before you kick the bucket. Not a fan of organ meat? No, not necessarily. I'm more of a muscle consumer. Just have ice cream. Yeah. Favorite ice cream flavor? So it's very particular. but my favorite ice cream flavor is cookies and cream, but not soft serve. It's always out of the tub because I like it. Excuse me. I like it when the Oreos have been sitting in the ice cream for a long time and they get a little soft. Because I hate it. I hate it when you bite into soft serve cookies and cream and they just put the Oreos in and it's just got that unnecessary crunch. It always hurts when I eat ice cream. I don't eat ice cream enough to really say whether or not it hurts me. I know it didn't used to, but then I just kind of stopped buying it when I became an adult. Cookies and cream are the same. Well, it's just length that you can do just about anything with. Or it just means you're plain.
Not plain. Rude.
See, I've had this discussion before. I am constantly in a state of trouble. It's just a spectrum of how much trouble I'm in at the time. So you just get used to it after a while. Oh, hi, Courtney. I just realized I'm not playing any music. My bad. We were just sitting in silence. There we go. That's better. Girl I used to know always insisted on vanilla ice cream, but I couldn't. But it couldn't be French vanilla because it tasted weird. Well, I kind of vibe with that. French vanilla does have a distinct taste, but it's still vanilla. Like, you can still do everything that you can do with regular vanilla, and it won't really mess with it that much. Mint Oreo milkshake is my go-to for a snack. See, I don't mind mint, but it's not something that I would run to in a crisis. What am I painting? We are painting a Space Marine this evening. I won't go into further detail because I know that you won't understand. Also, welcome to the community. Don't mind Malletus. He gets a little unhinged sometimes. French ice cream as a whole is just normal ice cream with more egg. Custard is solid too. Custard is solid. Yes, I do. And I know for a fact that she does not know a bunch of lore. Can't believe the slander against my good and mild-mannered character. Listen, it's not slander if it's true. It's fine. We love you, Malletus. By we, I mean me, because you give me money to do this. He is nice. Most of the time. His Black Templars are cool, so I can't be that mean to him. It's now 3 weeks without incident. Dad and I are making a batch of Jello, and I just tried this new 190 proof. Tastes like the alcohol your minis are sitting in. Are you saying that you drink isopropyl alcohol? Is that what I'm getting out of that? Sounds scrumptious. Downright delightful, even. Hi, Dustin. Brand new to the hobby with my son. I went with Thousand Suns, 3 hours into one rubric. I was... And it was at the point I knew I effed up. I couldn't... I don't envy you. I will say that. Uh, 190 is grain alcohol, but it tastes how IPA smells. Isopropyl is my favorite evening drink. Same. Warms up the soul. Just trying to learn some techniques painting. Well, if that's the case, I should have gone for a harder model. Because I don't think this guy's going to be very difficult. Not very technical. Technical. That's the word. But welcome in. I do have a Discord if you would like to jump over there. We have modeling and lore conversations over there. Pretty semi-frequently. Or if you got any models you want to show off. That happens a lot over there. Share with some of the friends, but they're too chaotic, I think, for this chill chat. Too chaotic for yourself. I have some friends like that. For top 3 tips for new painters? Oh, that's a good question. Link should be in the description. And if that one doesn't work, there's a link on the channel as well. Top 3 tips for new painters. Don't worry about spending a ton of money on supplies. Because cheap paints work great. Especially if you're starting out. Now, different paints do perform differently. But I think cheap brushes and cheap paints are not a bad place to start at all. That's where I started, and I'm still kind of there. I use cheap paints every once in a while. Number 2, it doesn't have to be perfect. You are the setter of your own standard. So whenever I'm painting a model, my only goal is to be better than the one I painted before. And about 75% of the time, I achieve that. Probably obvious to everyone but me. Are these characters of your own or in-game? Yes and no. So, these are Space Marines. So, they already exist in the Warhammer universe. But these in particular are from one of my own homebrew chapters, which is my absolute favorite part about the hobby. Is that you can create your own. Where was I? Number 3? Oh, I was about to solidify my point. Hang on. So, I didn't do these right after one another. And I showed these guys a little while ago. But these are a couple Plague Marines that I painted up. And I didn't do them sequentially, so it wasn't really do one and then do the other and make the other one better immediately. But I used some different techniques for this one than I used for this one. So this is the first one I did. And you can see he's a little blotchy. I used just a regular kitchen sponge for the grimdark effect. And it got the effect I wanted. Get him in focus here. About right there. Okay. It got the effect I wanted, and it looks good. It looks better than they did before, because I had painted these before, and then I stripped them, and I started over again. But then I painted this one here just a few days ago. And I'm so much happier with the result. So I'm kind of living up to my own standard. That one be better than the one that I painted before. Hey, Raincloud. I was explaining painting techniques. Take notes. And then the third tip. Oh, I'm not a guru. That is for sure. I just happen to hyperfixate on learning absolutely everything I can about something, and I'm just really bad at teaching. I don't want to say... Actually, yes, I do. So, I didn't want to say the stereotypical, just have fun. Just, if you're not enjoying the hobby, then why are you doing it? But I'm going to say it. Because, and I saw someone talking about this the other day. Because a lot of people who like actually play the game, they batch paint because it's fast and it's efficient. But once you've painted your 50th Ultramarine, you're just kind of sick of it. So my thing is, I tell myself this all the time, follow where the ADHD takes me. So if I want to paint a different project, I'll paint a different project, even if I'm in the middle of a squad. I don't really care, because I don't want to burn myself out. Because if I burn myself out, then I've wasted my own time and my own money and my own creativity. So if painting up a squad of 10 Cadians doesn't bring you joy, then don't do it. Paint maybe one or two, and then move on from there. I'm missing a lot of chat. Sorry. Hi, Button. Some nice models yet again. So if you guys, I was telling the patrons this earlier, look at my most recent short that I did this afternoon. I spent about 3 days painting up Vashtor the Archifane. And he is by far my favorite model that I've ever painted. I had fun doing it. And I think he looks phenomenal for what I did. And I'm super proud of how he turned out. Like, super proud. Like, I'm probably more proud of him than I am of the Great Unclean One. That's in the shorts too, if you guys want to go look at that. But I was going to paint some Chaos tonight, but I've been writing a lot of lore for these guys, the Reliquary Brotherhood. So I decided to paint one of them instead. Redoing my model shelves this weekend, and I was tempted to get the paints out again, but I never have time. My friend says rule of cool. Absolutely. Most of the time. We know I'm kind of a lore nut, so I like to keep things somewhat lore compliant, even though I am writing my own lore. The overarching lore, I like to respect. Follow the tism, yes. This tip I give everybody is to learn paint things exact. After that, you can learn all the wild techniques. How long have I been painting? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat. I've been painting since either I think it was November of 2023 was whenever I started painting Warhammer. I had painted D&D minis before that, but they weren't nearly to the detail that Warhammer minis are. Meanwhile, me, who has a calendar for what he paints in a year, just painted 30 goatmen sequentially. Hey, thanks for the sub, Grave Warden. Yeah, and everybody go join the Discord if you want to join the community. It's something I'd like to maintain a little better than what I am. You ever go and paint a different kind of mini to change things up, like D&D model instead of Warhammer model? I would, except my Warhammer obsession doesn't let that happen. I did pull out some Wizards of the Coast D&D minis not that long ago. And I painted... It's making a mess in here. It's fine. We'll clean it up later. I painted... Well, I say I painted. I kind of made a glaze that ended up being more of a wash, and I just went over them real quick, and I made all the details pop. I bet I got 3 of them done in about 30 minutes. You paint one of your models? No. Unless I had Gene Stealers or Eldar, which I don't have either, so no. Chase the ADHD pretty hard. So much so I keep buying and not painting. That is a respectable pile of shame, my friend. Buy them as blank figures and then just paint them? Or do you build them? So we're getting into the real education here. I have a sprue of Nurglings right here. So they come on sprues. You cut them out. You glue them up. And then I have my my Death Watch that haven't been primed yet sitting over here. So this is how they look after you build them up. Marines in particular. And then prime, and then I undercoat, and then the whole painting process from there. Sorry, I'm really behind on the chat. I'm trying to catch up. Get her in the booth. She would have to finance and create her own armies. Because I'm stingy like that. I would get triggered. Got your wife into painting? That is an achievement. Congratulations. The new K7 range got some awesome minis and tanks. So perfect for some weathering. Spent plague time at your home, so we are catching up. It has been. We're just on the tail end of it. Everyone is finally starting to feel okay. I feel like teaching my wife to paint minis is peak clickbait YouTube content. Just be careful with glue. If you paint first and then assemble. I do not paint first and assemble. That feels like too much room for disaster. Hey, Rain Cloud's in Twitch. Okay. Okay. Just gotta buy a box of flamethrower poison. Yeah. Infernus Marines are remarkably inexpensive. And I was thinking about buying some more. Because I have a squad in the Angels of Sorrow. And I was thinking about either making that a 10-man squad or giving one of my other chapters an Infernus squad. Haven't landed on that yet. Let's see, did I finish all that? I did, okay. Trying to get my base coats down, because this is going to take 2 coats. She paints them while you stream? Do you stream? I'll have to go check you out. Are you on YouTube or Twitch? Post them in the Discord. I do have a place where you can share your own content in the Discord as well. Go half and half for sub-assembly or full assemble. YouTube, very nice. Yeah, if you want to share that in the Discord, I will definitely check it out. It's probably more entertaining than my streams. Maybe even just a little bit more professional. Granted, that's a pretty low bar. I don't have the time or energy to take this as seriously as I would like to. Sorry for the self-promo. No, I love it. Especially if it's hobby content. The only thing I ask is no links in chat. That's what the Discord channel is for. Hi, Miss Morningstar. How long does one take to paint? Oh boy. That's a very involved question. So, hour-wise, on Bastor, I'll go get him just so you can have a size comparison. I'll get a Fervent Storm too, just because reasons. And size comparison, that too. So here we have Rivast, my Warpsmith for the Fervent Storm. And then here we have the patron for the Fervent Storm, Vastor, who I just finished today. So there's your size comparison. A Space Marine versus Vastor himself. Warden is just a baby in the painting scene. He's better than I am. What are these ones? So these are... I'm painting the first company... a first company veteran for the Reliquary Brotherhood. And they're Dark Angel successors. So basically their own Deathwing. Posted everything in models on display. Big photo dumps for my progress since December 20th, 2025. Very nice. Do they follow the codex? Yes, they do. Kind of. Mostly. Mostly. They follow the organization standards. They label their companies by high Gothic on their left or right left or right knee plate, instead of the company colors. And their sergeants are marked with either green helmets, or the first company has black helmets, and their captains have gold gauntlets. So they follow the organization standards, just not the organization methods. That's when I started painting. Okay, I see. I understand. Slacking and configure it out. I haven't looked at the Discord yet, so I assume you have your current project in there, but what are you working on now? Just out of my own curiosity. Ravener kill team. Very nice. Must be tedious. I think I would die trying to paint something with so many little details. See, that's what everybody says, is they don't have the patience. And I have very little patience. But when I get in the zone, I'm in the zone. And the dopamine rush that I get whenever I finish a model and I just hold it back and I look at it and I'm like, that's awesome. In my opinion. That's what really drives me in the hobby. When you do look at the Norn is magnetized, sweet. Buy a box of First Marines. Face let you paint. Imagine a special stream where Nate tries to teach. You would ignore me. We wouldn't get anything done, because I'd try to explain everything to you. And just do obnoxious lore dumps. For those of you who are new here, I'm kind of a lore nut, especially homebrew lore. So I haven't actually counted in a while. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 homebrews that I have models for, and probably 10 homebrews in total, because I have some guard and some Tau that I've been writing up that I don't actually have any guard or Tau, which I would like to, just because I want to experience painting them. I was thinking about just getting some Cadians, and then there's some heads I'd like to buy on Etsy, so I can make them my own. I would notice. They are my babies. I check on them every night. Sister likes painting D&D minis I print. She and her kids enjoy that sometimes. I convince her to do Marines so I can have a painting buddy. Yeah, D&D minis. I'd be absolutely fine if you painted one of those, but not my Warhammer minis. I've dedicated too much time and too much money. Call me stingy, but yeah, I'm stingy. But I don't really buy D&D minis anymore, and I don't have a 3D printer anymore. Looking at a certain someone in chat. I used to 3D print D&D minis a lot. Couldn't have guessed. It's okay, I'll stick with my photography and book. Saw Warhammer on my Steam the other day. See, in the games, you gotta be really careful what you get, because some of them suck. Burning! Hurler. I download it. Probably make my PC explode. Very likely. Depending on which one it is. I mean, Rogue Trader probably wouldn't. Space Marine 2 definitely would. We're ever going to get the rub on what happened? Brain in the printer? Was it FTM or present? It was FTM. I'll let him tell that story if he's still here. Can I pick where my Patreon money goes? Oh, it goes towards Ashley's box. No, this is my choice. Secret was getting my wife into the hobby. Now she's painting space wolves. Even bought a pack of intercessors for herself. That is incredible. Props to you. Space wolves are dope. I don't have a space wolf successor. If I went through all of the successors I have, space wolves are not one of them. I think space wolves, as far as loyalists go, let's start at the beginning. I have Dark Angels. 4, 5. I don't have. Oh, I do have White Scars. I don't have models for them, but I have a White Scars homebrew. Don't have Space Wolves. I have Imperial Fists. I have Blood Angels. I don't have Iron Hands. I have Ultramarines. But again, I don't have models for them. Who's next? 13. 18 is Sally's. I do have a Salamander successor, but they are Chaos. And then I don't... Oh, I do have Raven Guard, and they are also Chaos. So yeah, that's all the loyalists, right? In order. Wow, I'm proud of myself. Do I have a P.O. box? Send her some Eldar? I don't have a P.O. box. Is that something I need to set up? You guys might have to raise some Patreon tiers if I were to pay for a P.O. box. Warhammer books. She can just raid my library. She wants to read Warhammer. To Noble and check out all the books. Does this chapter use unit markings like close assault, fire sport, etc.? They do. So they do use the standard unit markings. Really just the company markings are the only things that are different. Because like I said, they don't use company colors. They use company numerals. And then the first company is identified by the color difference in their power armor. I'll actually show you. I have a couple from the 5th company that I've painted. So I'm doing 5th and 1st. So here's an aggressor from the 5th. And they have green accents. And then so the first company is going to have black accents. It's a very subtle difference, but I think that's what I've settled on. Can Chaos ever be loyalist? Yes. Kinda. But they can't let on. So there are loyalists that could potentially be Chaos. But once you go to Chaos, you're not going to go back. Once you get a 3D printer again, you can do print streams. Those actually do really well, surprisingly. I wouldn't think just sitting there and watching a printer print would be that entertaining, but that's just me, I guess. What about Ancients? They would take on the standard company, whatever. The company heraldry. It's a unit marking. Cool Space Marine who wears black. Malidus is Black Templar space. Chaos can be loyalists. They're called word bears. Wouldn't that be Alpha Legion? So like the Exorcists just are the first ones who come to mind. They absolutely have to be Chaos. But they claim to be loyalist. Because I guess forcing your recruits to be possessed by a demon isn't enough to be declared a heretic. Turn on music and you've got great background. You can even do pools to bet what the menu will be. Sit there with my mouth open while watching my printers so I can see streams going well. Word bearers weren't traitors, just a bit ahead of the curve. Are you a word bearer's apologist? Yes, we know you are. It's fine. I'm chaos pilled enough that it's okay. Oh, thanks for the Twitch follows, you guys. I just saw that. they're loyalists until they're no longer loyalists. Precisely. And Grave Warden, thanks for the follow. Been a Word Bears apologist since day one, baby. 500 worlds got what they deserve. See, that I can't argue with, because one, Ultramarines, and two, they kind of had it coming after, you know, Monarchia and all that. I go thrifting and antiquing soon. Do we have to? If you thought Calth was bad, get some cool things cooking that'll raise the hairs on your chest. I didn't think Calth was that bad. Wipe the floor with some Ultramarines? Absolutely. Use demons to do it? Absolutely. Lorgar. Is that the Word Bearer's Primarch? Yes, he is indeed. You'd be any Warhammer character, who would you be? I wouldn't. Because if I were, for any reason, caught in the Warhammer universe, I would off myself immediately. Need a hobby-focused thrift store? That would be interesting. That'd be very interesting. Really hope a random Iron Warrior Warsmith just kills Titus at the end of the edition. I wouldn't complain. Speaking of Iron Warriors, I just finished Brutal Cunning. And the lone Iron Warrior Warsmith in that book brought shame to the rest of his legion. Because he got absolutely wrecked by a tech priest. And it made me very upset. If... Is he standing on a trash can? This is my painting handle, so it makes painting the model much simpler. So I can spin it easily. I can make it at any angle that I need, so I don't just have to hold it by the base. You don't want 2 hearts? No. No, I do not. Being a Space Marine is only cool, 1, if you survive, and 2, that is surviving the process. One, if you survive, 2, if you are in a cool chapter. Who actually, you know, cares about you. So not Iron Hands. Kind of rules them out. Tower, the only good option. In theory, Tower good. Disrespect this bad will not be tolerated. Titus is a Chad, just as Chiron and Akaran. They just had to do those two dirty. Off camera, too. It pissed me off. See, I kind of liked Akaran. And I think it was just the accent. He was obligatorial. He was obviously Scottish. My vocabulary isn't functioning this evening. And the Scottish accent just made the whole character for me. Is that one also spring-loaded like the smaller one? This? Yeah, it's springy. And this one's actually an older one. I've had it since like 2019, 2020. It was whenever I started painting D&D minis. Was when I bought it. I didn't even know what Citadel was. I just saw it and I got it. I think being the average person in the Tau Empire is low-key worse than the average person in the Imperium. If we don't consider those gutter trash high skull people, they're not. See, that I can't entirely disagree with. But also spoken like a true son of Dorne. You give your Space Marines a theme song, what would it be? Which ones? Because the Angels of Sorrow are just sad. But they're in denial. So they're angry sad. These guys... They depend a lot on the Mechanicum. Sorry, Mechanicus. Want to be Raven Guard? Mentally they're broken, physically they've got malfunctions, and they're sneaky. Well, I think all chapters have their issues. I think it's just par for the course. Because with the lore that I've been reading recently, it's really been bringing to light how human Space Marines still are. Which I appreciate. Because, don't get me wrong, I like my super soldiers, but I don't like my super soldiers to be infallible. I like them to still have those human tendencies. Angels of Sorrows, Teenagers by MCR. Yeah. Yeah, I feel that.
I know it sounds silly, dear, but do it for me, please.
If I were going for a fun option, I'd pick Drazen just to spend eternity looking at his collection. Oh, by far, out of all of the characters who aren't associated with Chaos, Drazen is having the absolute most fun. Unless Oricon's involved. Then he's just mad. Between the Mordian's recruitment and most Imperial Fists coming from Necromunda, GW loves that trope. This is true. Top 5 favorite desserts? Oh, I don't know. I'm done painting my guy. Should I not share him since he won't be Codex friendly? Are you talking about your pink one? I'd say share anything you want. That's what the channel is there for in the Discord. I will not judge. Because even if something isn't lore compliant, I'll take a look at it anyway. I get reels all the time of stuff that isn't totally lore compliant. And I myself am guilty of it. Of not being totally lore compliant. So usually, if I figure it out after I've already established something, then I have to figure out a workaround or I have to start over. But if I don't care, and it just looks cool. Like with Vashtor, I almost made the glowy bits blue. But in the lore, his eyes are described as a furnace fueled by warp fire. Like a hot billowing furnace. I'm like, I like that image, so I kind of want to stick with that. So I went with the stereotypical yellow-orange that everyone else does. Not allowing non-codex compliant paint jobs would be hilarious for an Ultramarine Discord. Yeah. Ultramarines and Imperial Fists. Because Imperial Fists are just yellow Ultramarines. Despite Dorn's incessant superiority complex. And Gilliman's incessant imposter syndrome. I started Dark Imperium, so I'm getting a lot of Gilliman lore right now. I'm surprised not to see the Fervent Storm colors of Vashtor. Yeah, I wanted to make Vashtor a bit more lore compliant. So I went with something a little more industrial. Because Vashtor is Vashtor. Vashtor doesn't belong to the Fervent Storm. The Fervent Storm belongs to Vashtor. So if anything, the Fervent Storm should be in Vashtor's industrial colors. But I still want the Fervent Storm to have their own identity, so they're going to stick with the blue and the green, and Vashtor is going to continue being Bastor. Take that back. What, are we talking about Dorn? Listen, all of the Primarchs, except for Gilliman, had their own sense of superiority. Actually, Gilliman did too. Wasn't until recently that he really got his inferiority complex. Yellow Ultramarines. I know you don't. You just like Dorn. Templars would use Codex for toilet paper. Thoughts on Marines Malevolent? I think they're interesting. They're not a chapter I would follow super closely. But yeah, just having an unnecessary amount of casualties is appealing to some people. I'm just not one of those people. Do Space Marines still need to go to the bathroom? So, yes, but their power armor has a recycling system built into it that actually recycles their waste. And I can't remember if it converts it back into nutrients. Or if it just burns it off. It was a long time ago when I heard that fact. What kind of paint do I use? So I use not a very wide variety. In desperate situations, nobody pay attention, I use apple barrel. Usually just for bases and stuff like that. Or my undercoats. So if I need a black undercoat, I will use one of these giant bottles of apple barrel black. Particularly matte, because matte keeps your grit from your primer. so I like to use that. And then for pretty much everything else, I use Vallejo for about every color that I have. I do have some Citadel paints. I use Nuln Oil and Agrax Earthshade all the time for my washes. I need to buy some more Nuln Oil just to have on backup. Actually, I need to get into the Vallejo washes or the AK washes. Marines Malevolent are literally based off 4chan, so they're obviously not a serious bit of lore. Are we talking Marines Malevolent or the Angry Marines? Because those are two very different chapters. Because the Angry Marines, I believe, are the ones who were from 4chan. Feel like that making the ultimate human bathroom part would be removed. Count me out on wanting to be an epic Marine. Agrax protects. I love Agrax. I like it better than Nuln Oil. But I use an unnecessary amount of both. AK paint forever. Yeah, I'm gonna buy some AK washes here at some point just to see how I enjoy them. Okay. I think I'm ready to do my blacks. Oh, wait, I did that totally backwards. Oh, there is no trim, so that wouldn't matter. Sorry, I'm trying not to break my own aesthetic here. Thought they were the same thing. Some writer was referencing a big meme at the time. I could be wrong. No. I'm pretty sure they're different because I've heard lore blurbs about the Marines Malevolent and it's not nearly as comical. It's just dark. The Angry Marines, I think, are the ones who are comically angry. Nuln Oil doesn't have my love like Agrax says. Nuln Oil is great if you want to keep your cold tones. So like for these guys, they'll be coated in Nuln Oil, and then I'll go in and I'll do some panel fixing. But like these guys, I just coat them in Agrax, and it makes everything blend perfectly after I do all my base coats. So yeah, if I want warm tones, I go Agrax. If I want cold tones, I go with Nuln Oil. Warhammer stores where my hatred for Nuln Oil comes from. Why is that? And I gotta do a little bit of highlighting. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna do a bit more solid black. But I don't want to do just straight dry brushing to highlight, so I may actually attempt some edge highlighting. I don't know, we'll see. Ruined my perfectly good black mini and hid all the highlights. Ruined an awesome purple arm. Yeah, it doesn't work very well on dark tones. Seems like a drop in an old white dwarf from the first reveal since 5th edition codex. Might do a video digging into which came first. There you go. Was really happy with it, and the guy was like, let's hit it with Nuln Oil, and ruined it. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have gone that route. I'm actually debating right now whether or not I'm going to hit the blacks on this guy with it. Typically what you're supposed to do is do a wash and then do your highlights, and it'll bring all those edges back up. And then that's where a lot of your definition comes from. It's not always what I do. Sometimes I just, actually most of the time I just do the wash. And I just don't even think about highlights. You ever sponge your minis? Yes, actually. So that's what I did with both of these. This one I use a kitchen sponge that I had cut up. And it left a bit more texture in the paint that I would have liked. But overall, I'm happy with it. This one, I used a makeup sponge. And I was much more happy with the result. So I just recently started using makeup sponges. I was experimenting with it. I'll show you the first one I did. So this is my Slaneshi warband. And this was my very first experiment with a makeup sponge ever. And so I painted up both of these. And I was super happy with the blending and the highlights. So I think that's the route I'm going to go from now on anytime I do any sponging. And these guys were coated in Nuln Oil. I didn't do any highlighting after the fact. So I did all my base layers and then just washed them. But yeah, I'm really happy with how they turned out, and I'm definitely going to be using nothing but that moving forward. Anger Marines are not canon. Marines Malevolent are a loyalist chapter. I like them because they're the closest to Anger Marines. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that the Marines Malevolent were canon. Yeah, the Anger Marines are a meme. Almost never wash my Templars. It depends on the scheme. Feeling like you need to wash a mini is a beginner's trap. The GW pushes hard. That may be, but for me, it just brings everything together. So I will be the sucker. in that situation. Because I think once those recesses are darkened, and then, especially with the sponging, it blends all the sponging. I'm just like, this looks great. Sponge every mini. Also paint subassemble. I have attempted subassembly, and it didn't really go the way I wanted. So I kind of just stuck with not doing that anymore. I gotta figure out how I want to highlight the black, though. Because I know I probably will need to. I don't have any black speed paints, or I'd use Malidus's method, because his method's really good. I get that I'm questioning if GW made Marines malevolent, or to realize or poke fun at the meme, which I think was already very popular by 2008. Also try to get Gino to paint more, but he hates that. I have been falling off on the painting train as of recently. And I'm just happy to get back into it. Because work and sickness hasn't really been a fun time. And I've also been writing a lot, which has been helping. Got black speed paint. I'll just give it to you. Will you give it to me with your Imperial Fist Combat Patrol? Get the Army Painter one too. I am making a list of actual supplies that I need to buy in the near future. And speed paints are definitely one of them. I want to buy some washes that are not GW. I also want to get some basing diorama effects. Donated some paint to my coworker today. Scared the crap out of me when he came over to say thanks. Speed paints and Imperial Fist Combat Patrol are well guarded. Oh, you're right. I was talking to the wrong guy. Y'all are talking so fast, I can't keep up with anybody. Just trying to get some old world games in. I'm officially not longer doing anything cool for spring break, so hopefully that'll make time. I am losing it. All right. So I know I said I wasn't going to dry brush. I'm kind of tempted to. Just very subtle dry brush. Question is, which color? My fat cat. Okay, bye. Yes, I'm talking to the literal fat cat. Have you guys seen the cat before? You want to see the cat? Okay. This is Cat. Big Cat. Say hi, Big Cat. Major cat reveal. Thinks he's hungry. One day I'll paint, one day I'll sit down and have tons of motivation, like building part of the most. Paint is the second, mostly because I'm still rough at it. Well, you gotta start somewhere. I wonder... You know, I probably could get away with just dry brushing some of this. The sky gray that I use for the white-ish base coat. Stream. Damn thing has whiskers and everything. Yeah, he does. Smokey is looking slimmer these days. I don't know what world you're living on because he has not lost weight. 25 pounds. It's a chunky boy. Alright, I'm gonna use my tiny dry brush. I'm just gonna be smart. Not do anything dumb. Not make any decisions I'll regret. It's gonna work. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be wonderful. Don't do the face first.
I know it sounds silly, dear, but do it for me, please.
Because if I use the same color and I accidentally get some on the other base coat, you won't be able to see it. That is how I think outside the box. It's very, very subtle. I don't even know if you can see it on camera. Yeah, you kind of can. A little bit. Yeah. And that is how we do a successful, very subtle black highlight. Get that boy on a diet. Put him in the mines. And then while we're at it, we're gonna highlight this plasma pistol. Okay. What are you doing? Being a nuisance. He yearns for the mines. Okay. We call that good. I'm happy with that. Don't rub on the light. Go rub on something else. Okay. Can't have wildfires in the mines. White Centralia exists. Alright. I think we're ready to start on our metallic. So we'll pull out the gunmetal gray. Quick question. Me and my friend are going to a performance at my school. We need to learn some music for it. Need at least 3 songs. Do you have any suggestions? Not without your skill set. Or not without knowing everyone's collective skill set. If you want to go simple, just some simple classic rock or metal. Gotta figure out how to get that jump pack on Phobos boys. Yeah, we had that discussion, didn't we? They really don't have jump packs. They have grav shoots, which are a really interesting concept. But I don't know how to help you with the jump pack portion. Maybe Firstborn jump packs, the Mark 7 jump packs would work better. I don't know if they're smaller. Of music. Yeah, what kind of music are you aiming for? Are you going for metal, rock, hip hop? It's kind of a determining factor. Found a small 6K follower band today. Solid band. They're called Palette Knife. Interesting. Are they... They kind of sound grindcorny. If we're talking metal. I know my metal genres. By the way, I do have a metal channel, or a music channel in the Discord too, if anybody wants to share music that they're listening to at various points throughout the day. Doesn't have to be Warhammer related. Just like the chest of the Phobos, it's honestly easy fix, just need a saw. Can help with music except for country. Midwest emo or pop punk. I like Midwest emo. Yeah, I can't help with country. I actually despise the existence of country music in all its capacities. I'm an anti-fan of country music. We do not get along. Rainbow Stream, possibly, perhaps, maybe. I don't actually own the game. We were talking about that the other day. I do want to get back into gaming streams. It's just a matter of finding time. Because even these streams, I really only have time for once a week. I've been playing a lot of SWTOR recently, just because I got back in the SWTOR kick. I used to play it religiously years ago. Like, I was a full-on subscriber. I'd play it maybe 6 or 7 hours a day. And I just kind of fell off, especially after Star Wars started really taking a nosedive. Oh, wait, that Aquila is supposed to be black too. Yadoy. Cool thing about YouTube Shorts is you can make hundreds, even thousands of people listen to your Spotify playlist non-consensually. This is true. Buy the game, Pizza Death Delivery. Country is a stain on music. Hard agree. That is a valid statement. Which is ironic for me because I live in an area where it's kind of the staple for everyone around. And I am one of the few who just cannot stand its existence. I did play SWTOR. I played a lot of SWTOR. Brother used to have a SWTOR podcast. That's kind of neat. It's actually pretty big from my understanding. Have we I'm getting the weirdest sense of deja vu. Have we had this conversation? Country is pre-music AI pre-AI AI music. Yep, it is one of the few genres that I feel like should just die outright. I wouldn't miss it. Okay. Back to these silvers. Country all the time, living in South Dakota. Grew up in Wyoming. I've always hated it. It should not exist. Just outright. It's just bad. Like, you can only sing about trucks and beer so much. There is a point where it just gets annoying. I can't handle country music. I love music. I'm a musician. Music all around, except for country. Can't do it. So complex. They named the TV channel after all their chords GAC. We had a conversation of where Geno Cash came from. Yeah, I remember that. It's called Toro Cast, part of a larger podcast crew called Twonk Hammer. Interesting. Yeah, I don't like playing games for the meta. I liked SWTOR because you could play it as an RPG because it's so story rich. Like, it's kind of crazy how story rich it is for an MMO. That's why I got into it so hard. And then Star Wars started to die, and then I started to lose interest. So I just kind of stopped playing it. I'm really just playing it for the nostalgia factor right now. And it's so different. Like, for a Star Wars game that doesn't really feel like Star Wars anymore. My wife ran away with my dog, my horse stole my sheep, and my truck and I stand by each other for life. Country music. Broken Window Serenade is a good country song, though. I wouldn't know, because I avoid country music at every possible turn. So it's like early days of SWTOR. Yeah, I didn't play it hardcore until probably like 2019. But I played a lot of it. And I'm probably going to fall off again at some point this year. Like, in the near future. I'll just get bored of it. Odds can we be in court for bad music opinions? Music taste is incredibly good, aside from that one country song. I can neither confirm nor deny that statement, because I don't know if we've ever had country conversations or music conversations. I will listen to about anything. I won't enjoy everything, but I will listen to it. My go-to is pretty much anything. Oh, I say that. Most things metal related. I do have my limits on that too. And not just because of the fact that it's metal, it's the fact that it's probably overhyped. For instance, this is my hot take, and I know we've had this discussion on stream before. I loathe Metallica. I hate Metallica. And that gets me shunned from a lot of metal communities. But I don't care, because they're probably the people that I don't want to hang out anyway. There is not one Metallica song in their entire discography that I enjoy. We investigated ourselves. Found no wrongdoings level. Come for lore, safe for country music. Precisely. I go off on a lot of music tangents. Divorced dad rock, 80s, some heavy metal, Christian music. Their pinball machine was so fun. Thoughts on Megadeth? Eh. It's fine. Most of the time, if it's pre-2000, I won't listen to it. Most of the time. Music is okay-ish. Divorced dad rock is old news. It's all about grandpa rock now. We both like Hobo Johnson, but recently I've been on Tyler the Creator and Malcolm Todd kick. I'm still... I can't really get into Malcolm the Creator. I appreciate what he does, because, like, every single one of his albums tops the last one. There's a cat making noise over there. But I will always prefer Hobo Johnson. Whenever you guys mention Hobo Johnson, I think of Hobo with a shotgun. But don't ask me about that. Aerosmith, it's a great pinball machine. Same with AC/DC. Probably the oldest one in this chat. Not true. There's someone older than you in Twitch chat. Fun fact, most of the solos from Metallica were straight up stolen from Dave when they kicked him out. I believe he mentioned that when he was on Rogan a few years ago. thought we were talking about Johnny Hobo for a second. Guessing it's me, the resident old guy. Yep, definitely you. I'm a Dave Mustaine simp. Gotta respect the man. I do respect the man. Hobo Johnson's new album flopped due to alienating his fan base. With Hobo Johnson alienates his fan base, but the new album is good. Let's see. My favorite albums from him were probably the first two. Um, yeah, The Rise of Hobo Johnson was great. Fall of Hobo Johnson was great, and The Revenge of Hobo Johnson. And then Hobo Johnson alienates his fan base, and Hobo Johnson drinks. I didn't enjoy them quite as much. What are you doing, cat? Alright, this cat is gonna get thrown out. Big Romeo and Juliet fan. I did like Romeo and Juliet. I liked is it Happiness? That one's probably one of my favorites. Mover Aware was good. Yeah, Happiness. And then I like Mario and Link. Oh, and 3%. 3%'s good too. New album 2 weeks ago. Gorillas dropped on Friday. Might be the youngest. Big supporter. Hashtag Nathan supporting Nathan's. Did that. Got to re-listen 40 times. Gorillaz is easily my favorite band. Their range is awesome. Most listened to album over the course of your entire life. Mine is probably Slipknot or Iowa. Definitely, and I know this for 100% fact, is Nothing More self-titled album. There's not a doubt in my mind that that's my absolute number one listened to album. Lore's a nice addition to the whole experience as well. No, not Skillet. I started out with Skillet, and then I realized that there's better music. Skillet's kind of fallen off a little bit as far as music goes. Most listened to album is either Minutes to Midnight or Meteora. Grew up a Linkin Park kid. Modest Mouse, either good news for the people who love bad news, or we were dead before the ship even sank. Shame me for being a Linkin Park kid. I grew up with siblings driving me around blasting those albums. I won't judge for that. I didn't grow up as a Linkin Park kid. I didn't get familiar with Linkin Park until well after they broke up. But I was also a super sheltered kid, musically. And then I hit my rebellious stage and I never looked back. Skillet, Drowning Pool, Disturbed, Pillar, and all the bands in that general sphere I always associate with iPod Nano we had as a kid. All sorts of blurred together songs I thought were peak at 7 years old. I mean, that's valid. I used to listen to Pillar a lot. Pillar and Disciple and Decipher Down, I'd listen to them all the time. I actually played a tour with Disciple. which is kind of a highlight for anyone who's familiar with them. And for my siblings, I'd be hardcore into country. Got out of that one. Grew up on Mudvayne. I didn't listen to a ton of Mudvayne. I listen to some now, but I definitely didn't grow up with it. Instead of listening to little darky songs that make fun of country. Oh, yeah, Smokey he thinks he's starving. Of course, it is his bedtime. He gets mad when he doesn't get fed, and then immediately goes to bed after. Probably should call it quits after I finish these base coats, though. And we will come back again next week. And do the blade too. Do that while I'm here. Gotta figure out how I want to do it because it's a power sword. And for some reason, no two power swords that I ever paint are ever the same in the way that I paint them. Smokey's so relatable. Yeah, I do need to stream more. Like I said, I really only have time for painting streams about once a week. So that's why they're scheduled on Tuesdays. Because that's about some of the only time that I really have. Gaming streams, I can be a little more flexible. So I'd like to start doing some more of those. Because I want to play some more Phasmophobia. Because I think we kind of got off the DDO train a little bit. It started to get a little repetitive. So I doubt we'll end up going back there. Alright, now go to the decorative. Steels, silvers. So I use gunmetal for anything that is utility, and then I use natural steel for anything that's meant to be pretty. Throw some gunmetal in the grill of his Helmet too. Should give it a little bling. Sleep Token. I do listen to Sleep Token. Gotta save me from watching the weirdo that is Borden. He's very abusive. We're going to make a real go at YouTube with late March into summer. Have quite a few projects in the works. Yeah, I'm getting into busy season at work right now. We have two really busy seasons, spring and fall, and then summer is moderately busy. So my time for content is very limited. And I'm sure everyone's, well, all 9 subscribers have noticed I haven't really been uploading any gaming content. One, because we haven't been recording any. Not to say that I don't have a backlog, because I have a backlog. I just haven't really had time to edit anything and put anything out. But yeah, Malidus, we gotta get you on streams again. Or I guess it was you who said that you didn't really enjoy streaming that much, because talking to no one isn't that fun. Which, valid argument. I think Sleep Token might be the most hated band of the past few years. I don't know. I know a lot of people who were pretty deep into them. I don't know what DDO is, but waiting on Baldur's Gate run to continue. Oh, that's right. I was playing Baldur's Gate, wasn't I? DDO was Dungeons and Dragons Online. It's the D&D MMO, and it was okay. It was an MMO. But there's only so many things you can do in an MMO. Till it gets boring. Unless it's SWTOR. Because SWTOR has actual story content. Gina photoshops our DMs and makes me look like a monster. Getting into the season of applying new jobs. I hate them people. Speaking of 9 subs, you've been getting serious numbers tonight. I noticed that. I gained quite a few with the short, which is kind of crazy. Sleep Token is your personal most hated. Valid. They kind of, so they exploded out of nowhere. And they are very poppy, I think is the term I would use to describe them. And a lot of people don't vibe with that. Because it takes them 7 minutes to actually get to a metal part within their song. But their producer did phenomenal with the entire album. The last 2 albums. I didn't like their most recent album as much. But their first album that blew up, I was kind of a fan of that. I want my wife to learn Baldur's Gate. So she has that. And Sims. I've attempted to teach the ways of Baldur's Gate. Didn't go well. But she also doesn't really appreciate D&D the way I do. Love me a Minecraft 2-week bender, but all my friends are unemployed. So I get left in the dust. We had one of those recently. Almost the exact same situation. I feel like the new Ghost to me. Now that you mention that, I kind of see it. That's not a comparison I would have made before, but at least in the circles I hang out with, they're super hyped and I don't really get it. Yeah, I've kind of fallen off the hype. If they show up on my shuffle, I'll listen. Um, kind of like I listen to a lot of Spirit Box, and they're kind of to the point now. They're still a great metal band, don't get me wrong. But their reputation is almost on par with being a pop band. Because, I mean, Courtney the Plant's vocals are god tier. Like, that woman is a goddess with her voice. But they're almost too popular for their own good now. Do you enjoy ghosts and satanic Scooby-Doo music and that's a vibe? Yes. Precisely. I don't mind ghosts. Again, if they come up in my shuffle, I'll listen to them. I won't go out of my way to listen to them. There's only a select few bands who get that privilege. There's a huge amount of people my age who love that sort of mainstream pop metal bands like Dance Gavin Dance, but hate real metal. Which to each their own, but a lot of bands seem to want to ride that wave. Yeah, even a lot of metalcore. I used to love metalcore, but a lot of it has started to go that direction. So I've been listening to a lot more deathcore recently. And it puts me back in my happy place. That and I listen to old school metalcore. Or Ghost way more than Sleep Token. I'd like to change my most listened album. It's probably Plastic Beach by Gorillaz. Ghost actually beat out Gorillaz for my most listened band this past year because their new album wasn't too heavy, but it really dialed in focus at work. There was this band, World of Seven, that was super derivative of Ghost, had some black metal influences. It was really interesting mashup. I was disappointed they never went anywhere. Right, I think that is all of our base coats. So I think that I'm going to call it there. Good enough. We'll see how this works, how it's going to contrast the first company with the other companies. It'll be interesting to see. It may not be enough, I don't know. But thanks to everybody here. Thanks to all the new subscribers on Twitch and on YouTube. Yeah. So, go join the Discord if you want to share your models and projects. Lore conversations. Pretty much just a great hangout spot. If you want to support me and all this, you can join my Patreon. If you do that, you get access to special chats in the Discord where we talk about pretty much whatever. We also have a homebrew collab channel where we do collabs with our homebrew lore and our homebrew armies and things of that nature. Follow me on Instagram. I put pretty much everything on Instagram that you see here on YouTube on my shorts, so reels and things of that nature. I started a TikTok not that long ago. It's already over 100 followers, which is kind of mind-boggling. I don't think I have any links in there for that, but it's just Faceplant 104. So it should be relatively easy to find. Next Tuesday? Yes, for sure. Yep. Same time next Tuesday, unless there's a spontaneous gaming stream between now and then. I will see everybody next time, and I will talk to everybody in the Discord. So thanks, everybody.